apparently offering some suggestions as to how to make Jerry Briscoe submit. Dory Funk Jr. even distrustful of this man, Cowboy Bill Watts. Watts sits down now in Dory Funk Jr.'s corner. A discussion going on with the referee. Now the match underway. Dory Funk Jr. face lock on Jerry Briscoe. Mind you now, pins do not count in this match. The only way you can win the match is by a submission hold. And now Jack Briscoe, the world heavyweight champion, who is scheduled to defend his title later this evening against Cowboy Bill Watts, moves down to ringside and quite obviously concerned over the fact that Watts is in Dory Funk Jr.'s corner. All right, Jack Briscoe, the world champion, sitting down, watching carefully. Match continues now. There's Watts, watching carefully. Side headlock off the ropes, both men off the ropes. Good ankle sweep by Dory Funk Jr. Drives Briscoe to the canvas, but Briscoe breaks it up, back on his feet. Leapfrog by Dory Funk Jr. He misses that flying drop kick. Jarring at spine again, and now Jerry Briscoe into a full Boston Crab, putting that tremendous pressure on Dory Funk Jr. Dory Jr. has extremely powerful legs, taking a lot of pain and a lot of punishment here, but not conceding. Jerry Briscoe trying to hold it in there, trying to keep him down, but those powerful football legs of Dory Funk Jr. power him out. This match really beginning to take its toll on these two competitors now. Now, Dory Funk Jr., the former world champion, goes into the abdominal stretch. Jerry Briscoe, now Jack Briscoe watching very concerned, supplying him from outside of the ring. Jerry Briscoe badly stunned. Dory Funk Jr. moving slowly now, driving that knee into the side of the jaw of Jerry Briscoe. Jack Briscoe watching with, obviously with more and more concern. Jerry Briscoe able to move out of the way that time as Dory Funk Jr. tried with the elbow. At this point, he had been tied into the ropes for several moments, and Dory Funk Jr. had really been belaboring that left leg, catching him in the ham itself, the upper thigh muscles, and really applying a lot of punishment to that leg. You can see Jerry Briscoe hanging on for life now, and again, Dory Funk Jr. applying more pressure to that leg. This, of course, is the hold that won him the World Heavyweight Championship here in Tampa from Gene Kiniski, the inside spinning toe hold. And he's Jerry Briscoe putting up with tremendous pain, agonizing pain in that already injured leg. And now Dory Funk Jr. wanting to mete out more punishment. Crashing down on the upper thigh, crashing down again. And that knee is beginning to swell badly. Now watch Dory Funk Jr. You can see now where that knee is very close to coming right out. And it's obvious here that Jerry Briscoe is not going to concede if he can possibly help it. It reminds me of about 2 years ago when Dale Lewis had the Lewis lock on Jerry Briscoe. He refused to concede. He would not concede. His shoulder was torn out, and he was out of wrestling for several months. And I'm sure that memory is coursing through Jack Briscoe's mind right now. Dory Funk Jr. throwing caution to the winds now, inflicting punishment and pain. And Jerry Briscoe, grimly determined, is not conceding, tries to kick free, but he can't. And Briscoe, just in desperation, you can see his mouth in a silent scream as that pain courses through his body, but he will not concede. And this is the same Jerry Briscoe that refused to concede once before in his career, and it almost ended his career. Jack Briscoe could take it no longer. His signal for the bell moved in to separate Dory Funk Jr. Now Dory Funk Jr. catches Briscoe. And of course, the animosity between the Funk family and the Briscoe family is nationwide as far as its infamy. And now, two men here in a slugfest, the world heavyweight champion, taking a tremendous risk here. A tremendous risk. He has to defend the title. There's one match following this, the Mongolian Stomper in a match following this. And now, Dory Funk Jr. with that inside spinning toe hold on the world heavyweight champion, and Jack Briscoe. This may be all she wrote for the world heavyweight champion. Cowboy Bill Watts steps into the ring, knowing full well that another match precedes his. Yet now he wants the referee to ring the bell and start the World Heavyweight Championship match right now with the World Heavyweight Champion down on the canvas with an injured knee. And look at this. This man, Watts, who believes he's on an island unto himself, now trying to trying to get this championship match one match early because he realizes the tremendous physical advantage he'll have over the champion at this point. The referee again telling him that no, there is another match before this. And Jack Briscoe, the world champion, leaving the ring now in a wise move on his part. I'm sure he intends to head to the dressing room to have that knee packed in ice. Moving out now to help his brother, Jerry Briscoe. And Gary Hart moves up at ringside along with the Stomper who is scheduled in this next match. And wants Hart out of the way, wants a Stomper out of the way. Jack has Jerry Briscoe back on his feet. They're taking him back to the dressing room. Now watch as Gary Hart, Watts shoving Hart, pushes him to the canvas, and there's Hart giving the order. He gives the order. Bob Roop, Pearl Harbor's Cowboy Bill Watts catches him from behind, and now the Mongolian Stomper after him at the direction of General Gary Hart. Bob Roop has Cowboy Bill Watts up for a shoulder breaker, crashing him down to the canvas, and now the Mongolian Stomper beginning to throw those boots into the head of Cowboy Bill Watts. Watts being held now, pinned by both Gary Hart and Bob Roop, and the Stomper having a field day here, putting those size 14s into the head of Cowboy Bill Watts. Watts, the Florida heavyweight champion, who said he would give up his title if he could get a chance at Jack Briscoe, prone on the canvas, and Bob Roop continues to deliver punishment and pain to Cowboy Bill Watts, driving that knee into the throat. Watts is inert. He's helpless. Now watch Roop. Rolling Watts outside of the ring, booting him outside of the ring. Cowboy Bill Watts almost destroyed by Bob Roop in a Pearl Harbor attack. Three men, Gary Hart, the Mongolian Stomper, and Bob Roop, attacking Cowboy Bill Watts, Pearl Harboring him from the back, and there's the man who thought he was an island unto himself, definitely out of action for the night. Jack Briscoe dealing out some punishment to Buddy Colt right now. Briscoe trying for a pin. Colt using the whip to his advantage now. The referee signaling Jack Briscoe that Buddy Colt had 1 foot outside the ring. Colt taking a lot of punishment from Briscoe. Caught squarely in the back that time. The referee moving in. Briscoe watching his man. Decides not to try for a pinfall at this point. Brings him up to soften him up a little more. A full body slam. Now Briscoe going for the figure 4 leg lock, and he starts to get it applied, tries and can't get it over, and Buddy Colt makes it to the ropes. Colt utilizing those ropes very effectively. Here you see Colt delivering a thumb to the throat of Jack Briscoe. And this slowed Jack up considerably. Colt moving in again. And now watch Buddy Colt as he grabs the arm of Jack Briscoe in the same manner in which he broke Johnny Walker's arm, whips Jack Briscoe's arm into the ring post. The referee warning Colt. And Briscoe obviously in intense pain at this point. He has not yet conceded the match. Again, Colt going after that already injured arm. And he missed that time with an elbow as Jack Briscoe rolled out just in time. Referee again checking, and Jack Briscoe not conceding, still very much after Buddy Colt. Now attempting to retaliate, trying to drag Colt outside the ring, gets him to the outside ring apron, whips his arm against the steel post. Colt trying to get away now, trying to escape. Kicks Jack Briscoe in the face. Briscoe down outside the ring, and Colt trying to regain his feet. Now Jack Briscoe coming back into the ring. Colt moving in on him again. And again, Buddy Colt grabs the already injured arm of Jack Briscoe, drags him over toward the ring post, smashes it against the ring post again, and Colt suffering pain himself. And that's 3 times now that Jack Briscoe's arm has been whipped against that ring post. The referee trying to stop him, unable to do so as Colt slams it into that ring post for a 4th time. And the referee declares Jack Briscoe the winner. Jack Briscoe can be seen at the far corner of the ring now, getting set to leave the ring, having suffered injury at the hands of Buddy Colt. Tim Woods substituting for Jack Briscoe in this particular match. Might point out that karate is legal, and the good old American right cross is legal. Jones protesting, not wanting to wrestle Tim Woods. It's obvious that Jack Briscoe was unable to compete at this point. Jones finally acquiescing and accepting the match with Tim Woods. Start of the match, both men very, very cautious. Now watch Jones, watch that right hand. And he switched using the left hand, and Tim Woods fires back. Again, Jones cocking that right hand for a karate thrust if possible. Tim Woods watching him very guardedly. Again, Jones trying to use karate, trying to find an opening. Tim Woods harassing him now, keeping that left hand busy now. Woods using a forearm smash very effectively. Jones down to the canvas. Woods in for a pin. Jones kicks out, and once again, look at that right hand. Tim Woods very cautious. Keeping that right hand tied up again now. Woods utilizing the elbow and a good looping right hand to the chin of Paul Jones, had him down. Again, Jones moving in. Into the corner now, and it's Woods with a front face lock. Has Jones down on one knee. Referee checking. Again, catching him. There he catches Tim Woods in the lower abdomen with a karate thrust. Has Woods in a lot of trouble. Woods on the canvas. And Jones using an oriental claw that I was not familiar with. I didn't realize that he was familiar with utilizing this particular hold.
still utilizing it. Wood finally breaks free, catches Jones with an elbow coming off the ring ropes. Jones utilizing the ring ropes at that time, escaping the count. The collision between both men has both of them in a semi-conscious state. Jones whipping that karate thrust again, but Woods ducked out of the way, was not hit. There the referee was caught accidentally by Tim Woods as Jones had him up for a full body slam. The referee trying to come to his feet now. And now you'll see the referee caught by Woods again, but once again at the hands of Paul Jones. Jones trying to deliver a karate thrust to Woods, caught the referee instead. The referee is down and out at this point. Tim Woods taking a lot of punishment from Paul Jones. Referee still unable to function effectively as an official in the ring. At this point, Jones does have Tim Woods down, obviously for a 3 count, but the referee is unaware of this. Referee trying to get to his feet. Now Jones going over to the referee. Woods recovering slowly. Jones trying to get the referee up. Woods seizing an opportunity. Hooks Jones. Excellent cradle. Has him in a pinning combination. There you see one of the wrestlers, and it appears that might have been Ray Collette, moving into the ring to
It's a packed house at the beautiful Bayfront Center in St. Petersburg. The Florida Tag Team Championship at stake. Dandy Jack had already claimed the title. Eddie Graham said that titles are won and lost in the ring, and consequently did get the waiver signed by Mike, and he's in there defending that title. Good takedown by Graham. Notice the second Samoan watching now with a great deal of interest. Graham keeping that front face lock on the Samoan. Kevin Sullivan watching very carefully now. Again, the Samoan moves into Eddie Graham, collar and elbow. Graham in a quick go behind. Tried to get him into a waist lift, but the Samoan twisted away into the ropes. Referee calls for the break, and notice a good clean break on the part of Eddie Graham. Graham has a volatile temper, but moves with remarkable restraint in the ring. Graham firing away with a looping right hand that time. Another right hand to the chin of the Samoan has him staggered. Now Graham showing the effects of this match. Here's the tag, and it's Kevin Sullivan moving into the ring. At this juncture in the match, the Samoans have had themselves a tremendous battle, and it looks at this point as if the tag team title is very, very safe in the hands of Kevin Sullivan and Eddie Graham. Kevin Sullivan moving against the second Samoan. Notice the two Samoans in the ring at the... Four giants of the wrestling world competing now. Jack Briscoe out there against Johnny Valentine. It's Jack Briscoe and Paul Jones against Valentine and Buddy Colt. Briscoe looking in superb condition. Tremendous timing, and Briscoe now has Valentine up against the ropes. Watch the tremendous respect that both men have for each other. Very cautious, but watch Johnny Valentine coming up with one of those big sledgehammers. Jack Briscoe retaliating. Again, another sledgehammer from Johnny Valentine, and Briscoe beginning to feel the pain in that left arm. Again, Johnny Valentine moves in, drives Briscoe up against the ropes. The referee calls for the break. Again, Briscoe being very wary now, being very cautious. Johnny Valentine moves in with that sledgehammer. Briscoe fires back. He has Valentine staggered. Valentine moving back, almost caught by Paul Jones. The referee becoming somewhat upset over this match. All right. It continues to be a double tag now with Buddy Colt out there against Paul Jones. Colt has Jones in the side headlock. Looked like he wanted to go with that thumb to the throat, caught by the referee. The referee calling for the break. Again, as we said, four giant gladiators in here, and now Jack Briscoe makes the tag with Paul Jones. Goes up into the air for a flying drop kick. Colt hangs onto those ropes. Briscoe is down and hurt. He's hurt that hip. And Colt moving in very methodically now, the side headlock. And it appeared to be a thumb to the throat, another one, and Briscoe is down and in trouble. A knee lift to the side of the head. Jack Briscoe taking a lot of punishment. And now Johnny Valentine tags in with Buddy Colt. And Valentine with another one of those great big sledgehammers of his, driving Jack Briscoe into the canvas. It's Briscoe caught again that time, an elbow from Johnny Valentine. Valentine in the lighter blue trunks. The tag is made. Paul Jones tags up, and Valentine catches Jones coming in. This man Valentine is awesome in the ring. An elbow across the throat, and now watch as he duplicates this on Paul Jones. Has both of these men in serious trouble now. Johnny Valentine going up again to that big elbow, but Paul Jones rolling out of it. Jones back on his feet. A good double leg dive by Paul Jones. Now Paul Jones going into that Indian deathlock. Buddy Colt moving in, trying to break it up if he can. The referee stopping him. Now Colt concentrating on Jack Briscoe. Briscoe crashes into the referee, and Paul Jones has the Indian deathlock on Johnny Valentine. But watch Buddy Colt going up to that top rope. The referee unable to see this. Briscoe covering Paul Jones, protecting him. He was unguarded at that moment. Colt coming down across the back of Jack Briscoe. Briscoe suffering an injury at this point. And now Buddy Colt concentrating on Paul Jones. But Colt did accomplish his purpose. That Indian deathlock was broken on Johnny Valentine, is held by Paul Jones. Now Colt pounding away at Paul Jones. Jones firing back. Colt moving in against Jack Briscoe. Valentine still holding on to that injured knee. And Colt now having a field day with both Briscoe and Jones in trouble in the ring. And now Jones moving in behind Colt. Catches him in the rolling reverse cradle. The count of 3, a fair count of 3. And Johnny Valentine recovers sufficiently to deliver another elbow to Paul Jones. And now you see Buddy Colt hauling Paul Jones outside the ring rope, trying to catch him on the ring apron, deliberately trying to add further injury to his arm. And now this is the same tactic that cost Johnny Walker 2 broken arms. Note now the way Colt has Paul Jones's arm up against that ring post, whipping it against the ring post. Jack Briscoe moving out, trying to render assistance as Buddy Colt again attacks the arm of Paul Jones. Briscoe trying to break free is caught by Johnny Valentine. Meantime, Buddy Colt continues to wreak havoc on Paul Jones. So obviously, Colt is interested more than just winning the match, which he has not done. He's just lost the match. Paul Jones scoring the pinfall. He was trying to permanently injure Paul Jones. But there you see the winners, Paul Jones and Jack Briscoe. This tremendous over-the-top rope battle royal now in progress. There you see Man Mountain Mike. Also Ron Fuller, the Southern Heavyweight Champion, on the right of the screen now, has a head scissors on Buddy Colt. Buddy Colt trying to get Ron Fuller over that top rope. Paul Jones pounding away at Yoshihari. There's Dale Lewis moving in now. Buddy Colt caught in the midsection, caught again by Paul Jones. Jones, of course, has no love whatsoever for Buddy Colt. You see the Saints in there. Tim Woods. A tremendous over-the-top rope battle royal. Over $8,000 involved. Now moving along into the match, only 2 men remain. Only 2 men left now. Paul Jones and Buddy Colt. And Paul Jones pulling out all stops at this point. Paul Jones wanting to settle the score with Buddy Colt. All right, Paul Jones pounding away at Buddy Colt. Paul Jones's face a crimson mask. Colt staggered again by Paul Jones. Colt trying to move away. $8,000 plus riding in this battle royal. Only 2 men remaining. Those 2 men, Buddy Colt on the canvas, Paul Jones on his feet. Paul Jones weakened by this match, tremendously fatigued. So is Buddy Colt. A grueling match all the way down the line. 18 men have gone over that top rope, and Paul Jones now continues to pound away at Buddy Colt. More than a match at stake here. The tremendous animosity. Now, Buddy Colt has been known to carry a foreign object in his trunks. Goes after Paul Jones, and Jones upends him over that top rope, and that means that Paul Jones wins the battle royal. It was right after the battle royal that I talked to Paul Jones, and he said he wanted Buddy Colt for the Florida Heavyweight Championship, and they would gladly put up the $8,000 plus that he won in this battle royal if he could just get a Florida Heavyweight Championship match with Buddy Colt.
Certainly a pleasure to have with us today on Championship Wrestling from Florida, a great athlete and a fine gentleman. I might point out that he was a tremendous college athlete. He went on to become the football coach and athletic director at Tulsa University, and became very, very much acquainted with a leading businessman here in town, Jim Harrell, at the time. And of course, now they're both here in Tampa. I'm referring, of course, to Mr. Glenn Dobbs. And Glenn, it's a pleasure to have you on Championship Wrestling.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here with you. And on behalf of Jim Harrell and myself and all the golfers in the Bay Area and all over the country, well, we want to thank the people in wrestling for helping us out in this charity golf tournament that we're going to have in January.
Now, exactly where will all the proceeds of this invitational tournament go?
Well, Mr. Harrell liked this tournament so much back in Oklahoma that he wanted to put it on here and let the net proceeds go to the athletic departments of our schools like Miami University, Florida State, Florida, and Tampa University to try and help out on the inflationary cost of playing football.
Well, I know that, in a sense, Tulsa is very much responsible for the University of Tampa becoming I would say now, a major football power, because it wasn't too many years ago that your team just whipped the daylights out of Tampa.
Well, it was one of those things, Gordon. As a matter of fact, we played Tampa University because of Mr. Jim Harrell. He asked us to play because his good friend Sam Bailey was the athletic director and coach, and Tampa was struggling to get up there. We had been through the process, so we agreed to a 3-year contract, and we did win the first 2 games, but I might say they built a beautiful stadium down here, got better players, and the last time Tulsa was here, Tampa won that football game pretty good.
They did indeed. They have become, I think, a very, very impressive team. Let's talk for just a second about the tournament itself. Now, I know it's taking place in January. I understand there's going to be over $10,000 in prizes.
That's right. A lot of times you have these golf tournaments, and the handicapped players cop all the prizes. The good players don't get a chance. They get out handicapped, so we're going to have a gross championship for our real top-flight golfers, and there will be 6 tournaments in one, Gordon. If you can't win one tournament, we've got another one in there you might win. We're going to have prizes for the shortest drive. Everybody's always talking about the long drive. We're going to give prizes for the shortest drive, the guy in the most sand traps, all those sorts of things, and try to have some real good fun, and at the same time have some money left over to give to the people that are involved in the charity.
Well, sand traps, water holes, and short drives, that sounds like my game.
Well, who do you think's putting it on? Mr. Harrell and I are going to do the work. We're going to win those little prizes.
Let me ask you this. Now, how can a person go about finding out more information about the tournament or possibly getting into it?
Well, I know that all of our friends right here would help us out, but if they would, why, they can get in touch with me, Glenn Dobbs, at Jim Harrell Pontiac. Just leave your name and phone number or give me a mailing address, and we'll get the scoop to you, and the tournament will be on in January, and I'll guarantee you it's going to be the most fun tournament in the Tampa Bay area.
And I think the most important thing, too, is all of the proceeds going to the various colleges' football funds, which is an extremely crucial area. You know, talking about Oklahoma a few moments ago, of course, it's good wrestling country out there. It's a hotbed of wrestling.
You know, as a matter of fact, that was one of the inducements to go to college in Oklahoma. You always got to pass to the wrestling matches there, and we were there in the days of Leroy McGurk, and we saw Gorgeous George when he first started, and wrestling really did grow up and thrive, and it was a sellout, so the football players had passes to go see those wrestling matches, and I saw all those good wrestlers in those days, and I'm a real good fan today.
I might just say, of course, the current world heavyweight champion, Jack Briscoe, hails from Oklahoma.
Yes, we know that well. He's up there in that north-central Oklahoma, and boy, they do wrestle there.
I was curious, you're talking about some of the greats, of course. You probably had an opportunity to see the 6-time world heavyweight champion Lou Thez in action.
Many times. We had the pleasure of seeing him because we were traveling around in college and professional football a long time ago, and we got to see him work, and man, he is something else. I always wanted him for a fullback to block those ends so I could throw that football. He's a great wrestler.
He is indeed. Now, tell you what, Glenn, we're going to take a look at this man right now, the 6-time world heavyweight wrestling champion Lou Thez, as he takes on the gentleman who's held the U.S. heavyweight championship, Johnny Valentine. Let's take a look.
Well, Glenn, there we see the man we're talking about, 6-time world heavyweight champion Lou Thez, shaking hands with Johnny Valentine. Valentine has held the U.S. heavyweight championship, the Southern heavyweight championship, one-time co-holder of the World Tag Team Championship. And note the caution that both of these men exercise toward each other. Each respects the other for his ability. Thez, campaigning now in the United States, had an extensive tour of the Orient before returning to professional wrestling. He really never left it. He was in semi-retirement, obviously in tremendous physical condition, on a strict regimen now. Notice Valentine trying to cross that arm across the throat, and Thez, fighting fire with fire, catches them with a short forearm smash. The referee warning him, and Thez explaining his purpose behind it, obviously. Again, Valentine moving in. Valentine, an awesome wrestler, enjoys inflicting punishment on his opponents. And the more you hurt Valentine, the more he seems to fight back. Again, collar and elbow. And again, watch Valentine coming across the throat of Lou Thez, trying to cut off that oxygen supply. Both men seeking balance, and it's Valentine. Single leg dive, Thez in that 4-point stance, able to break free as Valentine could not maintain the ride, and Thez again using that forearm smash. It drops Johnny Valentine to the canvas. This, of course, an extremely controversial match. A controversial and disputed pinfall, as we will see in just a moment or two. All right, Thez bent back over those ropes by Johnny Valentine. And watch Valentine, one of those big sledgehammers across the chest. That stuns Thez. Again, Thez caught with that sledgehammer, but he fires back. 2 good forearm smashes, a third, and Johnny Valentine rocked backwards now, caught in a side headlock. Thez caught in the head Valentine moving up, and so is Lou Thez. Both men, excellent recuperative powers. Thez hooking that arm. Now watch Lou Thez. He'll start a softening up process here on Johnny Valentine, and in just a moment we're going to see that disputed pinfall. I might just point out, although it was a disputed pinfall, Lou Thez says he wants Johnny Valentine anytime, anywhere. There you have the disputed pinfall, and the referee did not see it. Consequently, the winner of this match is Johnny Valentine. Deep into this lights-out match, Buddy Colt moving across the ring. It's Buddy Colt and Dusty Rhodes against Paul Jones and Eddie Graham. Four giants of the wrestling world colliding in this squared circle, and the referee watching now. His purpose, count a man's shoulders down or see if he concedes. Anything goes in a lights-out match. Paul Jones now wreaking havoc on both Dusty Rhodes and Buddy Colt. Jones and Graham, partners in this match. Dusty Rhodes being set upon now by Eddie Graham, who's over in that far corner. And now, with all four of them still in the ring, as we said, anything goes. These men well aware of the risks that they took when they agreed to move into this lights-out match. No NWA sanction. Graham continuing to move against Dusty Rhodes, and Jones has Buddy Colt in a side headlock. And it's obvious now that Dusty Rhodes has a laceration of the head, and Paul Jones quick to take advantage of this situation. Dusty Rhodes, 280 pounds, a bear of a man, capable of taking tremendous punishment, and that's exactly what he's doing at this juncture of the match, taking tremendous punishment at the hands of Paul Jones and Eddie Graham. Watch now this teamwork between Graham and Jones. Graham catching Dusty Rhodes, stunning him. And this has to be like hitting an ox right between the eyes. Buddy Colt to the far side of the ring. Paul Jones smashing away at Dusty Rhodes again. And this man Rhodes taking tremendous punishment now. Staggered, dazed, has that great second effort trying to get over to his tag team partner. Again, Paul Jones cutting him short, catching him in the head once again. And Dusty Rhodes' face becoming a crimson mask. Dusty Rhodes caught over the heart, dropped to the canvas, and the crowd roaring their approval now as Paul Jones has his man measured. Dusty Rhodes coming up. Jones continues to measure, pounds away again across the head of Dusty Rhodes. These men able to throw caution to the winds. No rules or regulations to hinder them at this juncture. All right, Eddie Graham moving in now. Catching Dusty Rhodes again, and Dusty continues to take great punishment. Now Buddy Colt moving in from behind, but he's caught in the midsection by Eddie Graham. Graham, with the hardest punch in wrestling history, drops Buddy Colt to the canvas. Again, we have all four men in the ring. Again, we repeat, this is a lights-out match. The referee's only purpose in there to count a man's shoulders down or to hear him concede. And with these 4 minutes, doubtful that anybody is going to concede. Graham pounding away with everything he's got now against Dusty Rhodes, and the crowd once again coming alive as Graham measures him, pounds him across the head again. And Rhodes, taking these punches to the head, finally collapses to the canvas, finally moves over, tags up with Buddy Colt. And almost inhuman the amount of beating this man can take and still maintain his senses. Paul Jones watching. Here comes Buddy Colt moving in against Eddie Graham. Eddie Graham swinging from the floor. And these two men now slugging at random. And as again, no rules or regulations, and consequently we have four men back into the ring. Graham getting a side headlock on Buddy Colt. Off of the ropes, he's tripped up by Dandy Jack. Buddy Colt's the new personal manager. Dandy Jack tripping him up. Dusty Rhodes back on his feet. This man has taken a lot of punishment, is still back on his feet. And now Eddie Graham outside the ring after Dandy Jack. And here comes Dusty Rhodes, and it may just be that Dusty Rhodes and Buddy Colt have bit off a little bit more than they can chew in this match. And there's Dusty Rhodes hurtling a chair into the ring, but Paul Jones gets it. Rhodes trying to throw it to Buddy Colt in desperation, but Paul Jones has it. And now both men fighting over that chair. The referee trying to separate them, trying to get that chair if he can. Trying to break it free. And Buddy Colt has the chair, and the referee caught on the head now. Dropped to the canvas. Buddy Colt, a boot to the midsection. Colt drops that chair. He's stunned, and Paul Jones, using it with devastating effectiveness on Buddy Colt, has him stunned on the canvas. Eddie Graham running Dusty Rhodes into the far ring post, and Graham now moves into the ring. Cross body ride on Buddy Colton, the second referee moving in. A count of three, and Eddie Graham and Paul Jones have won this lights-out match, but Dusty Rhodes and Dandy Jack move into the ring, and Paul Jones pounds away at Dusty Rhodes with the very chair that Rhodes threw into that ring. And look at this man at Rhodes. He's almost inhuman, taking those blows over the head and still on his feet. Gets to that chair. Paul Jones hurtled over that top rope. Dandy Jack had put the boots to Eddie Graham, pounding him out of the ring. And these men have taken tremendous punishment, but there's no question about it. The winners of this lights-out match, the team of Eddie Graham and Paul Jones. The winners of the match, Eddie Graham and Paul Jones. There's Hiro Matsuda now, and look at this tremendous bridge by Bob Orton Jr., second-generation wrestler, and a good move by Matsuda again. And Don, here are two obviously superiorly trained athletes.
Yeah, they're in tremendous condition. They're very powerful backs, and of course the bridging and suplex in modern wrestling, it calls for that kind of subtlety.
And there you see Matsuda, that foot outside the ropes. Orton had him in a predicament there, no question about it. In fact, Orton thought he had the pin, but he did not. It was only a count of 2. Matsuda, I might say, did not deliberately throw that foot out either. It was just the angle of attack. Now Matsuda with a good leg dive, and thus far, some great scientific wrestling.
Certainly is. Of course, with a great background, Bob Orton has gained from his father. You see an awful lot of his moves, very much like, in fact, the leg dives and leg pickups and so forth that he uses. You can practically see his father's moves in it. And watch him wrestle, you just see that echoes that training.
Well, Bob Orton Jr., of course, a 3-time state AAU champion, and the odd thing about it, 3 times in 3 different states.
Right. Every place he went, he was feared. You saw that sweep in there when he went in after that leg. That was just a beautiful takedown. Very quick, and of course, here, realizing he's going to get into some trouble, look at the way he fights out of that one.
He was in that standing guillotine, and Matsuda went through those ropes back into the ring, and a forearm smash that rocks Matsuda this time. Matsuda, who once defeated Danny Hodge for the Junior Heavyweight Championship of the World, and now having his problems here with Bob Orton Jr.
Of course, he has some problems, but there again, notice there's a tremendous power and the drive that he's got. When he hits him with those elbows, very effective. And that's another sign of that Orton training.
Matsuda opening up a little bit. Some Oriental tactics here that drops Bob Orton Jr. Matsuda whipping him into the ropes. And a good move by Orton.
Again, another one of those suplex becoming so popular, so effective. And of course, one of the masters of this sort of technique was Matsuda, and he's run up against his own weapon.
Speared into a backflip, and Matsuda down again. A big elbow across the throat of Hiro Matsuda. And this would, well, this would probably spell the end for the average competitor, but Matsuda can take a tremendous amount of punishment. He has a very high threshold for pain. Again, Orton trying for a pinning combination here, and again, a full body slam crashing down on top of Hiro Matsuda, but Matsuda continues to fight his way out, and this is where stamina and perseverance pays off, Don.
And an awful lot of training. You know, he's does 1,000 squats, and there he's got that sleeper hold, and that's good. This is a powerful thing in the hands of the Japanese style of wrestling.
Well, of course, that's where the sleeper hold originated, and Don, you certainly were an expert in that field when you were wrestling.
Well, it was the Japanese that taught me how to apply it, and I have been knocked out with it, and it's a tremendous sensation, and to be able to fight like Orton's fighting is remarkable.
Well, as I said earlier, of course, 2 superiorly trained athletes, both of them great condition, and excellent move, hooks him inside, rolls him up into an inside cradle, has that count of 3, and Bob Orton Jr. Has been pinned, and the winner of this match, the former junior heavyweight champion of the world, Hiro Matsuda. Now into the closing moments of this 1-hour World Heavyweight Championship match. Jack Briscoe at this juncture in the match, in tremendous condition yet. Good move by Briscoe, breaking free from the near pin. A good arm drag takedown. These men have been wrestling now approximately 52 minutes non-stop. I just point out for you young amateurs who have wrestled in 3-3-minute rounds, you know how grueling that can be. Imagine these two men going almost an hour at this point, non-stop, and still obviously in top peak condition. There you see 6-time world heavyweight champion Lupez, the special referee appointed by the NWA for this match because of its importance. Play by Dory Funk Jr., the former champion, has Jack Briscoe on the canvas. That central nervous system jarred, but Briscoe powers out. And there you see the referee, Lupez, indicating no, not a 3 count. A 2.5, but not a 3 count. Dory Funk Jr. wanting that World Heavyweight Championship. A good backslide by Briscoe as he blocked the suplex. Dory Funk Jr. rolling out of it now. Dory Funk Jr. hitting that ring post, crashing into with his shoulder, and he's got problems. And now Jack Briscoe, apparently firmly in command, moves against Dory Funk, and now the temper's beginning to flare. The family feud between the Funks and the Briscoes is known worldwide, and now Briscoe pounding away, the referee telling Jack Briscoe to break it up. He's onto those ropes. And a man certainly with Funk has been lacerated, and now you see the former champion Lupez pulling him away, completely unbiased referee. And now the match is beginning to turn as Jack Briscoe seems to be more and more thoroughly in command. Dory Funk is dazed and staggered at this point. This, of course, is the incident we're talking about. Here you see Jack Briscoe, Dory Funk Jr. trying to get him back into the ring, and the referee has started the count momentarily, and Dory Funk Jr. desperate now, trying to get Briscoe into the ring. Briscoe has been hurt and hurt badly at this point. Dory Funk Jr. eager for that championship, lateral body press, and the referee, Lupez, making a judgment decision here, a judgment call on the part of Lupez, 6-time world heavyweight champion, realizing that he was partially responsible for what happened to the world champion, taking that responsibility on his own shoulders. In a moment, he's going to do an unprecedented thing in professional wrestling. An unprecedented move and there you see Dory Funk Jr. applying more punishment now with that spinning toe hold that brought him originally the world heavyweight championship. Lupez now asks for the microphone, and let's see if we can't pick up his comments.
I was appointed by the National Wrestling Alliance to review this match impartially. I think that I was partially to blame. I'm going to declare a 2-minute moratorium. This man will get a 2-minute rest, and that is the story.
There you heard it, as I said, an unprecedented move by an NWA referee declaring a 2-minute moratorium in a World Heavyweight Championship wrestling match. An unheard of thing, but certainly, in this reporter's humble opinion, certainly a wise and just move by Lupez. Now, Jack Briscoe, who seemed to be firmly in command earlier in the match, and right up to these closing moments until this unfortunate incident occurred, now having his problems. The moratorium is over, and it is Dory Funk Jr. closing in on him again, and Funk realizing this is his greatest opportunity to regain that World Heavyweight Championship. Look at Funk now as he closes in now. Calmly, methodically, and Briscoe, desperation, trying to move away, trying to get on a bicycle that doesn't exist, trying to escape. The feet, the hands, the arms of Dory Funk Jr., the former world champion. Briscoe writhing in agony now as once again Dory Funk Jr. goes into that famous spinning toe hold that brought him the World Heavyweight Championship. And Briscoe still hanging on, and of course this match has taken its toll on Dory Funk Jr. too, no question about this. It's been a grueling match for both men. You can see the pain, the desperation, the fatigue across Jack Briscoe's face as he hangs onto those ropes now. Dory Funk Jr. bringing to the minister more pain and more damage to that leg now. All right, Dory Funk Jr. moving back inside. Jack Briscoe holding on. There's no question about it here. The champion is holding on. The referee. Briscoe is not fully into the ring. The referee giving him every opportunity to get back into the ring. And again, Dory Funk Jr. moves in. Now watch Funk break the play of tremendous physical endurance here as he brought him up into another play. Briscoe again fights his way out. And one has to give both of these superb athletes all the credit in the world for the stamina, the determination, the self-sacrifice that has brought them to this apex of their careers, the World Heavyweight Championship. Again, Dory Funk Jr. moving in. He's grim and relentless in his quest for the World Heavyweight Championship. A lateral body press, and again, that second effort, that tremendous fighting heart of Jack Briscoe, and he's operating primarily on instinct now. Fires away to the midsection, fires away again. Still firing away. Neither man now at this point able to gain the advantage, and Jack has gotten that adrenaline going again. The bell has rung. The bell has rung. The match is a draw. The match is a draw, but Jack Briscoe, with that adrenaline flowing, wants more of Dory Funk Jr., but the match is officially over. An unprecedented match in World Heavyweight Championship history. There's Funk after him again, but the match is a draw, and Jack Briscoe retains the heavyweight championship. Colt catching Briscoe, but Briscoe now has him in a backslide, trying to defend the Florida Television Championship. This match now almost 10 minutes underway, and again into the ring ropes. The referee calling for the break. Colt letting out all stops now, trying to win the Florida Television Championship. Jack Briscoe on the canvas, writhing in agony after catching that thumb in the throat. The referee warning Colt about his tactics. Colt has been using rough tactics throughout the entire match. Colt moving in now with the knee to the side of Jack Briscoe. Now Colt off that bottom rope. Again driving Jack Briscoe into the canvas. And now watch Colt throwing caution to the winds, trying to re-injure Jack Briscoe. He did this once before to Briscoe and put Briscoe out of wrestling for a period of 3 days. Briscoe now pulling Colt pulling Briscoe over to the ring post, whipping that arm up on the ring post. Colt back in the ring now. Colt on his feet, holding his hands up, signifying victory, but it's not over. Jack Briscoe has not been pinned. He has not conceded. He is not defeated. Again, Colt moving in that knee to the back of Jack Briscoe. Buddy Colt, as we said before, has let out all stops. He wants this Florida Television title, and he wants it badly. Briscoe caught from behind that time, whipped to the canvas. Again, the referee, seeing the Jack Briscoe's hair being pulled at that juncture, calls for the break, but not until Colt is able to get in another shot at Jack Briscoe, and Briscoe coming up very slowly. This match has taken its toll. Jack Briscoe has been on an extensive tour around the United States, in tremendous demand, perhaps a little bit overtrained and perhaps over-wrestled at this point. Colt continues with a full arm drag and twist now. Jack Briscoe coming up very slowly.
10 minutes.
Briscoe reaching up, catches that arm, caught by Colt again, a boot to the midsection. Colt goes for a full hammerlock now. As Briscoe by the hair, the referee starts the count, but the hold is broken. Colt fires away. Briscoe drops underneath and then catches Colt. A good kidney punch, but that Buddy Colt has taken his toll on Jack Briscoe's left arm. Colt firing back now, and Jack Briscoe retaliating. Both men firing at each other. And now Briscoe caught in the throat. It appears that he was caught in the throat. He's down and all but out on the canvas. Now the referee in for the count. But Jack Briscoe, with great instinct, great fighting heart, manages to get one leg over the rope, enough to stop the count. Again, Buddy Colt moving in now. Briscoe caught on the neck breaker. Briscoe trying gamely to get to his feet. Buddy Colt attempting a pinning combination here. Once again, Jack Briscoe grimly determined, great second effort, able to break free. But this match has taken its toll. Colt moving up very slowly. Jack Briscoe even slower. Again, Buddy Colt and being stopped by the referee, and that time Briscoe tried to bring him up. The referee caught by Buddy Colt. This was obviously purely accidental. The referee is down and out. Jack Briscoe caught by Buddy Colt. A full body slam, and now watch Buddy Colt slowly, methodically, moving outside the ring. Climbing up on that top rope with the full intention, it's very obvious, with the full intention to jump off of that top rope on top of Jack Briscoe. But Briscoe catches him before he can make that jump. He's driven to the canvas by the impact of Buddy Colt. He is in a weakened condition. The referee tolling the count of 3 on Jack Briscoe, who is down for the count of 3. And the NWA, in viewing this, said it was obvious that Buddy Colt intended to jump, but he did not, in fact, jump off that top rope. Jack Briscoe grabbed him off the top rope, bringing him into the ring, causing his own downfall. And so the winner and the new Florida Television Wrestling Champion is Buddy Colt. And there you see him receiving his television trophy.